Part 2, Driftwood Dreams. That night, Clara lay in her new room, the windows open to let in the sound of crashing waves. Her parents had tried to make things feel normal. Pizza on paper plates, unpacking boxes, joking about the lack of cell signal. But her mind kept drifting back to the boat. The girl who disappeared. The cracked hull. The name that began with DRI. In the city, she had drawn trees, buildings, people. Here, everything felt bigger, wilder, sadder. She flipped to a new page and began sketching the boat again, this time imagining it restored. Sails high, prow slicing through waves, a figure at the helm. A girl. Free. Outside, the wind howled gently, and the stars blinked like distant lighthouses. Clara fell asleep with her sketchbook beside her, the ocean whispering through the window like a secret waiting to be heard. The next morning, Clara woke to the cries of gulls and the muted clatter of her dad rummaging through kitchen boxes. Her pillow smelled faintly of sea air, and the corners of her sketchbook had curled from the night breeze. She dressed quickly, slipping on worn sneakers and stuffing a granola bar in her hoodie pocket. Her parents were too busy with unpacking to stop her, though her mom called, "Be back for lunch." Clara didn't answer. She was already out the door, headed toward the beach. The tide was out, and the boat looked even more forlorn in the morning light. The early sun cast long shadows over the worn planks and rusted bolts. A gull perched on the stern, as if keeping watch. She approached slowly, half expecting the thing to crumble into driftwood at her touch. But the hull, though cracked, still held its shape. A whisper of paint clung to its sides, once blue maybe. Clara ran her fingers over the faded letters. Drift. The rest had vanished under time and weather, but that single word sparked something inside her. Drift. Drift away. She crouched beside the boat, brushing away sand and seaweed. Beneath the grime, she found old ropes stiff with salt and a broken oar snapped in two. Still here? Joe's voice startled her. She stood and turned. He was barefoot now, carrying his surfboard under one arm, dripping from the waist down. "Morning," she said. "You really like that boat, huh?" "I don't know, it just feels like it wants to be found." Joe squinted at her. "You sound like my gran. She talks to her flowers." Clara smiled. "Maybe the boat's like a flower, just needs some sun and water. And wood glue, and a new mast, and probably a small miracle." He dropped his board into the sand and came over. "You know," he said, towing the boat's keel, "I bet Silas would know what to do." "Who's Silas?" "Boatwright, or used to be. Has a workshop by the old fish cannery. He fixed up my uncle's skiff after a storm broke it in half." Clara raised an eyebrow. "Broke it in half?" "Long story. Crab traps and rum. Anyway, he's cranky, but he knows boats. You could ask him." She looked back at the hull, imagining it whole. Sails full. Wind in her hair. "Yeah," she said, "maybe I will." That afternoon, she found the workshop. It sat at the edge of town, where sand met asphalt, surrounded by rusted anchors and old buoys. The building leaned slightly to one side, as if bowing to the sea. A carved sign hung over the door. Silas McRae, Boatwright. Beneath it, smaller letters read, "Repairs, restorations, and the occasionally impossible." She pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside. It smelled of sawdust and salt. Wooden hulls in various states of repair lined the walls. Tools hung from pegs. A workbench was covered in curled shavings and oil cans, and behind it all, hunched over a block of teak, was Silas. He looked up slowly. His face was weathered like driftwood, beard streaked with white, eyes sharp. "You lost?" he asked. Clara shook her head. "I want to fix a boat." He squinted. You? Yes, it's on the North Beach. Old one. Name's Drift. Drift? He echoed, setting down his chisel. I know that boat. Belonged to a girl. Long time ago. Haven't heard that name in years. Joe said you might help. Silas stood and crossed the room, peering at her with something like amusement. You ever held a planer? No. A draw knife? No. Know a steam box from a caulking mallet? She shook her head. You got grit, girl? Clara lifted her chin. I think so. Silas studied her for a long moment, then nodded. Bring me a list. Materials, measurements, photos, then we'll see. She smiled, excitement rising. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, he said. This won't be quick, and it won't be easy. But if you stick with it, that boat might just float again. Clara left the workshop with the sun on her face and the scent of cedar in her clothes. She ran all the way back to the beach, her mind already sketching plans. She had found her boat. Now she would bring it back to life.